Welcome back to the Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and this morning I'm gonna have a little, probably more of an entertaining video for everybody. So in a recent video, I introduced my old Jeep Wagoneer, which is actually just out the back here. I'm backed up to it, and I'm gonna try and get this running. Probably not try, I probably will. It may take a couple of weeks. This is gonna be the first video of the series of putting stuff back together today. Particularly, I'm gonna try and find out where that other heater hose goes that I mentioned, and then I'm going to put the carburetor on. But the entertaining part is probably going to be me trying to figure out how the carburetor works. I'll try and explain it to everybody according to what I can try and figure out based off of my limited knowledge that I've gained never working with carburetors ever, but hearing a few of the terms. And you can correct me down in the comments down below how wrong I was, but I'll try and explain this carburetor. That'll probably be the funny part, and try and get it all set up. So here we go, the Jeep's back here. Probably not gonna be a super long video, but we'll do those heater hoses. I've got a radiator cap as well. There's some other things I've still gotta do, find dipsticks, replace the oil because I don't know how old it is. I've gotta get a battery as well. So it's not quite ready to run yet, but once I get that battery, before I put up the fuel system, I may just try and get it running just by spraying some gas in the carb. So here we go, we'll jump back here and get started. All right, first things first. Luckily this was in the whole time, so it's not going to be too dirty. We've got a traditional style radiator cap. I didn't want to get the little fancy kind, but this will do. Probably, there it goes. Nice and tight. Make sure those are tight. So here's some questions actually. For anybody who's familiar with the vehicle, you could leave it in the comments down below. My curiosity is, what is this right here? That looks like it has a pressure fitting inside of it. Like a flared line down there that's gonna be similar to like this fuel line there. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna poke around at it and see if, I'm assuming probably a vacuum line goes to it. It looks like it comes off the front cover there where that, behind that water pump. Anyways, just if you know, you can put it down below. I'm not desperate right now to figure out what that is. Also, the other question I have that I'm going to try and figure out, so if I don't figure it out, feel free to leave it in the comments down below, as well as where that other coolant line goes. I do not think it's this. I believe that's the transmission line, or the transmission dipstick spot there. Yeah, so we're going to get this carb off. It looks like this nut's been pretty destroyed. There's some cobwebs. So hopefully they're not all messed up. I mean, we can get some studs and stuff if we need, but there's just a lot missing on this carb. That's why I just went ahead and got a new one. I'll bring the new one around and show it to you. It's nice and shiny. All right, here's the awesome shiny new carb. It came with this spacer. I don't know what those spacers do. So I know some people put them on like there. My dad has a 350 big block. It's got some spacers. I know they sell them individually, so you can put spacers on them. I don't know if it's supposed to give it more power or something. I can't imagine what an extra 1/3 of an inch is going to do, but you know, maybe there's a science behind it. And we'll get this old carburetor off and get that new one on, and that's that. So here's the thing as well, I don't use these electric ratchets to start and stop stuff. I'll just use them to do kind of the boring work in between where you're just endlessly twisting. And that one didn't fit because it's a different size. So yeah, I don't advocate using electric stuff to tighten or start loosening things. I just always do it by hand, but people don't realize that in the comments sometimes, that I am not finishing it by hand. So yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, there's the old carb. It said they may be slightly different, but they'll fit and they'll work together. See if you can see them there. And I may still rebuild this one per everybody's request, stating that the old carbs are a bit better than the newer ones, so we'll have a backup as well. Okay, now for the entertaining part, I'll briefly describe what's going on here as best I know. Vacuum controlled something. I know this is a little vacuum canister, which is going up to this linkage here. I know the throttle connects here. When you open it, you see that throttle plate open there. And then the interesting part is when you go past that, that rod runs all the way through there, over to some linkages over here, and then it starts moving stuff over here. So, yeah, oh, I know, I bet I know what that is. So this vacuum controlled doodad here is gonna get smaller when a vacuum hits it. That way, this is more responsive when the engine's running under vacuum. When it's not running, you can only open the throttle so far. That's what this is doing. Vacuum line, maybe, connection, same here. Maybe same here. I don't think that's fuel. I could be wrong though. It just goes right here. So this is probably vacuum as well. This, I imagine, is fuel, but could be vacuum. I think this is fuel as well. There's vacuum. Don't know what this does. I don't even know if this has to be plugged up to something electrical. It looks like it does. Maybe fuel goes in here too, but maybe not, because maybe that's just vacuum, since that it doesn't look like there's a space for fuel to go in there. And I know that the fuel, whatever they call it, where it kind of sits, the bowl right here, is right here. And if you look down in the carb, hopefully I'm not messing anything up by pulling this plate open a bit more, you can see the jets in there, which are those circle things and the little brass things beside that, as well as these maybe idle jets. I'm not sure. Here's idle air, probably where the idle air goes through, since the plate's closed. That's about all I know. So I'll probably tear the old one apart, like I said, and rebuild it. That's my description of this carburetor. So tell me how wrong I was in the comments down below. And over here, the old one had its little spacer on it, this nasty old spacer. So I will replace that. And it looks like it's pretty dirty in there. It's got some like leaves and stuff. So I may be cleaning that out. Yeah, I don't know exactly everything going on here. Vacuum, maybe? That looks like vacuum, not fuel. Maybe it's fuel. Probably not though. Because like on some newer stuff, you have like fuel return lines and stuff. It reminds me of like the spider injectors on those Vortec engines, but I don't think with the carburetor, the fuel is just supplied straight to the carburetor. I don't think it would have anything to do with fuel over here. It's probably just vacuum, but we'll put the new carb on. See if I can get all these lines connected correctly. I don't know what this is. What is that? I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of just tinkering around with stuff and figuring it out, but yeah. This spring goes on probably to pull that back down. That's the throttle cable. That may be what do you call it? Cruise control. If I had to guess, this is probably cruise control. I don't know why it's like so loose back there though. Engine oil dipstick here, and let's put these coolant lines on first before that carb kind of blocks my view back there. So the old hoses here, you can see retain their shape. I'm gonna kind of use the shape of those to figure out which ones went where. This one I believe is the one that goes right here. Let's see if I can get it on there. Okay, so that's on. And we'll figure out where that larger one goes, but I'm not exactly sure. As of right now, I may just take one of the ends of these off, like this end, and blow in it, see if I can feel the air coming out somewhere else. But I did that before and I just heard it somewhere back there. But now the carb's not in the way, I can probably stick my head back and look. All right, so before I tightened it down, I blew in that other one, and I could blow in it just fine, but I couldn't tell where it was coming out from. I know, like, typically, I mean, this is the water pump. Sometimes they'll go up here. I don't see anywhere up here where it's supposed to connect, so I think it's probably in the back over there. There's a few belts missing on this as well. Each pulley has a spot for 2 belts. I think this one only has like one of each, so I don't know if, you know, you run multiple ones to like, one should go from here to here to here because these are both in line together. So I'll figure that out too. But no big deal. I'm imagining that's what happens there though. And anyways, we'll figure out where that other coolant line goes hopefully here in just a moment. All right, I was surprised to discover when I blew on this hose that there was still coolant in the heater core, which I guess is nice because I was afraid some wasps had built a nest in there. So I guess that kept stuff out. It blew through just fine. I cannot figure out where that's coming from, but that gave me the idea to just go ahead and fill this up with water and see where it leaks from. So I'm gonna do that. All right, we've got the garden hose running here. This is gonna put me on a bit of a time crunch to probably get this running so that it doesn't get below freezing here soon and crack the block. But I'm gonna figure out where the leak's coming from first, and then I may drain out the water and put coolant in there, and hopefully that circulates enough through like the, I forget what they call it, fluid interaction. You know, you put one water here, there's no barrier, it'll eventually all become the same. So we'll see here soon where that leaks out from. All right, I think I just figured it out finally. I'm pretty sure it goes right on the side of the water pump there. If you can see, probably not. There's like a hole right there, and I believe that's open. So I'm going to turn the water off, and I believe that's where it goes. I was just looking at the water pump thinking, I know there sometimes hoses connect on that water pump in different spots, and I looked, and lo and behold, I think I finally found it. So that makes sense with the shape of the old hose as well. So yeah, we'll cut this off, get that hose put on. Here's my biggest mistake ever. I'll maybe talk about that one day. And we've got the tool gremlin messing up the truck. Cute screwdriver. Okay, we'll connect this hose and put that carb on since it's not going to be in the way of that. All right, here we go. We got that little spacer in, and here goes the carb. Looks like it fits nice. And we'll get it bolted down again right on the side of the water pump down there underneath this AC compressor is where it looks like that goes. So if I have to remove the AC compressor, I will. All right, this carburetor is bolted in. Oh, the other thing, I think this fan clutch is like really loose. So typically you don't want to see it go all the way around when you spin it. This one pretty much goes all the way around, and just from experience it doesn't feel tight at all. I have dealt with fan clutches, so I may be replacing that fan clutch as well. Yeah, carb's tightened down. I do want to get some wider nuts that go on there with their little respective washers built in, like this kind. I don't know the specific name for those, but yeah, we'll probably get 3 more of those just next time I'm at the parts store. And that's it for now on this carburetor. I'm gonna put this coolant hose on real quick. And something I forgot to mention in the last video is that the front caliper, when I first got this Jeep, was just hanging on its hose there. So I'm gonna replace the brake lines, the flexible lines themselves, since I don't know how long that caliper was hanging on that hose. But at least it's got that new caliper. I just replaced it, and yeah, here we go with this hose. Dirty? All right, you can see the water mixing with the antifreeze here. Interestingly enough, we're topped off here and we don't have any leaks yet, so most likely not getting past the thermostat there. But we may have an issue of like some passages clogged or something. Hopefully not, but we'll give it a few minutes and see. Which that looks weird. All right, so my hose is just a couple inches short. I have verified that that is the spot it needs to go in, and I've taken out the bracket that was in front of it. So you may be able to see better now. That's just on the side of the water pump. So yeah, my hose is just about an inch, 2 inches short, too short. So I'm either gonna find a longer hose, or I'll just get the same diameter hose, just another one, and I'll get one of those reverse, flushing kits for the cooling system. Anyways, I may flush it out after I run it for a little while, so I may just put one of these in there, just splice two of the hoses together essentially with that. I put one in my truck. It worked rather well. Probably not like the best thing in the world, but one of the better options that you have. And since this heater core is a little bit higher than the radiator anyways, it's probably a good idea to have something back there that I can help bleed the system out anyways with it. So there's that. Relieved I finally found that. I guess all I need now is a battery and a water bottle full of gasoline to get this thing running, as long as everything else works. So probably not in this episode, maybe in the very next episode. I'm gonna pick up a few more parts, like some oil and some stuff too, and then I've got to track down some dipsticks, transmission dipstick and the normal oil dipstick. So yeah, I'll check back in when I get that hose and show you what I did. Until then. Right, so I just got back from AutoZone, got some stuff for the Jeep. Here's another section of that hose that's the same size. I just need a couple inches off of it. So I've also ordered this is a 3/4 inch hose. I've also ordered a connector for these. So I'm just gonna cut this one probably about here, maybe a little bit shorter, and just put the two together rather than put that little flush valve thing in there. I've got a new battery for it, some oil, and a couple things of transmission fluid. I'm gonna make sure everything's topped off. But I don't know if I mentioned this in the other video or not. Come here, buddy. Come here. I think I forgot to mention it. Well, let's see. Oh, no, that's still full, right? Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if I mentioned it or not in the other video. I don't think I did, but the kid I got it from could never find the key for it. And he was not a very nice kid either. But he'll probably never see this video. If he does, you know who you are. Yeah, so there's no key, so I'm gonna have to take the key core out of this. Now my question is whether I take it out of the ignition or the door. It's probably easier to take out of the door, so I'll probably do that. But there's usually a few more variations of what the key could be out of the door. It doesn't have all the pins, so they'll have to do like a key tree, probably cut like 10 different keys. It's going to cost, like $3 more a key. So it's probably going to be like 60 bucks rather than 50 bucks to get a key cut for it. But I'll probably do that, since the door is probably the easiest way to get the core. But I'll look at this ignition as well, and my little one's squealing out there. So that's going to do it for this video. That connector for those hoses is being ordered right now. It's not going to be here till this afternoon. So I'll end the video off there. I'll probably pick it up tomorrow. And then I've got oil, transmission fluid. We'll check the levels. I don't have a dipstick for either, but I do know how much the fill level for the engine is 4.89 quarts or something like that. So I've got 5 quarts. I'm just going to put it all in there. And then if I can't find a specific dipstick for this vehicle, I'll get a universal one that you can cut to the right length. Same thing for the transmission. I'll probably do something similar. Drain and refill, since I know how much the drain and refill will be. How many quarts are supposed to go back in after it drains. So it should be running soon. I'm gonna have to get a key made, but I do have the battery now. The carburetor's on there. Already I've seen some comments on that video I just put out this morning about making sure everything turns over nice by hand first, maybe putting some ATF, automatic transmission fluid, in there to make sure things aren't stuck. So I'll do that before we get this started, but it'll probably be started in the next or the video after that. So thanks for watching this Roadside Rescue YouTube channel. Here's the Jeep project we're working on. Again, the interior is just impeccable. So the headliner needs to be glued up, but that's about it. And we'll have this beast running soon. Such an awesome car. 6-seater too. You can sit somebody up in the front here. So tons of room. Just awesome.